If I understand you correctly, you killed more than 200 people.
Sure. Yep. I killed, basically, 100 people when I was a young man. One part of my life, I killed people for nothing. Just for somebody to look at me wrong, I would kill them. Stab them, shoot them.
Do you know what an adrenaline rush feels like?
Oh, yeah.
What will give you one?
Sex. It's the only one. I don't really get anything from hitting anybody, hurting anybody, shooting anybody. Does nothing for me. The only thing that gives me pleasure is sex.
Well, that's a different kind of pleasure than what an adrenaline rush is.
Pleasure, I guess.
Yeah.
That's when I figured I must be crazy. Because I figured someone should have some kind of a feeling. Something. He gave me a picture of him and a description of what he does and what he generally does and where he goes, places he goes. And so I went to the area where they said he might be, and I saw somebody who looked like him, similar to him. He had a knack for smoking, and they told me he smoked big cigars, Churchill cigars or something. So I pulled up alongside of him. At the time, I was riding a motorcycle. And I just said, Cuban? Are they Cuban? Looks like a good cigar. And he wasn't a happy camper, because he said, fuck you. And when he said, fuck you, he looked my way, and I got a clear shot of his face. It was a picture I had of the man they wanted, and I said, nah, don't fuck me, fuck you. And I just took this weapon out and blew his head off. Just disintegrated his, like you see a pumpkin get hit with a shotgun or something, they just spread out. And that's what happened. And light turned green about the time I shot him, and I left.
Does it give you any response in your guts to see a man's head explode?
It surprised me a lot. A response in my gut. What kind of response do we want? I don't know. I don't have any response.
Most people, when they see horrible things, if they see somebody badly injured, certainly see something that awful, have a visceral reaction. They feel nauseated. They may want to vomit. It makes them very uncomfortable all over real fast. Did you get anything?
No, it's a good thing I didn't have to vomit, because then I would have had real problems on that motorcycle. But I didn't have that problem. I didn't have any sickness, dizziness, or upset stomach or anything like that.
It helped you adapt and cope not to care.
Definitely. Not to care is much better.
Because it's a weakness to care.
That's right, it is. Then you have baggage. When you care, you can't just move. You have to worry.
And you got something to lose.
That's right.
Dismembering bodies, did that turn your stomach?
I don't think so. I remember having pizza one day while we were doing something like that.
Pizza in one hand, chainsaw in the other?
No. I didn't like chainsaws. That's another fable that they've come up with, that I use chainsaws. See, chainsaws are messy.
Yep.
All you get is all over me I have these little pieces of meat. Now that's a pain in the neck. if I use chainsaws. Now, would I want to ruin a good shirt with a chainsaw? That would be downright stupid. I don't think I could walk around with bits of meat hanging off me or bits and pieces of somebody's body hanging off me. I would probably smell a little bit bad also at that point.
So what's a better way to dismember
Just
a
a
body?
knife. A butcher knife, you cut it around the bone and a little slice here, a little slice there, and wrap it, ship it.
Do you understand that most people can't imagine doing that to a human?
Sure. I can understand that a great deal. I can't understand why I can.
Did you have to cultivate that ability, or is that natural for you?
I don't know. I don't recall. I did it. I don't recall when I started doing it or why, or the feeling I had when I did it. I don't know.
Jeffrey Dahmer told me that when he cut bodies apart,
Yeah.
it repelled him. He found it horrible. He had to get himself drunk to overcome that
Stink.
natural revulsion.
Yeah.
It's because it's disgusting.
Yes, it is.
But to you could just do it, no feeling.
No. The smell sometimes was annoying, but I would put cologne on. I would generally put cologne across here so I could smell the cologne a lot better than I could smell anything else. I beat a guy to death one time. I had blood in my shoes. His blood in my shoes. It just goes on that way. Had to throw all my clothes away. There I was driving a big Lincoln Town car with butt naked. Had a sheet wrapped around me. We're having too much fun. You know that? You realize that? I'm coming across like a nice guy. Nobody's going to believe this. Nobody. I wouldn't believe this if I was watching this. Because I'm the furthest thing from a nice guy. I am what you call a person's nightmare.
But there have been people you've been good to, aren't there?
Not many. There have been people. I don't know what you consider good. Your interpretation of good might be different than mine. I don't know. What do you mean good?
Well, how do you think you were with your kids?
Oh, the kid just... Now you're talking completely different. Now you're talking black and white. There was nothing I wouldn't do for my children. Nothing. I'd kill everybody in this room for them. That's just to show you a point. Not that I would or want to, I'm just saying I would. If it meant I had to for them, I would do it without even thinking twice. It might upset me, it might hurt me, but I would do it.
What would happen at home?
You name it. Violence, I think they call it domestic violence. Yes, I've cornered it all. There's nothing I haven't done and nothing she hasn't put up with. I'm not proud of it. It's the way it is. I could say I'm sorry, what good would it do? I couldn't have been too sorry, I did it again. But yet I was sorry. I couldn't control it. Almost a hate-love relationship. So I really loved the girl. But when I got mad, I forgot all that. And wound up hurting the person I loved. So, where did I really love her? I still hurt her. I got to trust her more than I trusted anybody in my whole life. Well, basically, I think I tried it. I decided to talk to you would be so I could find out more about myself, since I don't know the answers. And you are a person who is highly qualified to give me answers, possibly, of what's going on. I figured this would be a good time to talk to somebody like you.
Well, why don't we turn the tables here and you interview me? I'll answer your questions.
Interesting. I can live with that. Just so happens I might have a question for you. What do you think about me? Anything good, bad, or indifferent?
Yeah, some of each. The issues about your behavior, I think there are really a couple things to say. The things that I'm most sure of, based on the information you've told me, are that your principal problem has been a warp in your personality. And we classify personality according to different types. And there are two types of personality features that you have a great deal of. The first of them is called antisocial personality disorder. What it refers to behaviorally is someone who does not have a conscience, does not have remorse, does not feel a sense of guilt about most of the bad things they do, is impulsive and violent. The typical things we see before age 15 in people who earn that label are cruelty toward animals, cruelty toward people, and an awfully interesting part of that condition is that we've got a little bit of knowledge of what causes it and where it comes from. And that's where there's some good news and some bad news. The bad news is that part of where that comes from is hereditary. That there's a genetic basis to being a fearless person. And you've told me about how rarely you have any experience that even begins to resemble nervousness or fear. It takes extreme things to make you have a sense of impending danger. Normal people get fearful about a wide variety of things frequently and would be beside themselves with the kinds of experiences that you had on a weekly basis. You couldn't have done the things you did if you were capable of ordinary fear. But the fact that you're born with a genetic predisposition to fearlessness doesn't mean that it's inevitable for you to become a criminal. Because some people who have that genetic predisposition to fearlessness become pro-social risk takers. They do things like drive race cars, test fly planes, fighter pilots, bomb disposal technicians. Now, those are all jobs where it helps to have a lot of fearlessness. And in fact, some people in law enforcement are brave and have that same capacity to be fearless. And the difference between the people who grow up to be risk-taking good guys with white hats and the people who grow up to be risk-taking bad guys with a long, long rap sheet and a lot of crimes has to do with how their parents raise them. If you raise a kid with love and kindness and affection most of the time, you've got a good shot at their growing up to be decent, caring, loving human beings and treating their own kids well. But if you raise a kid the way Stanley raised you, with no love, no affection, constant abuse, beatings for no reason, all you teach is hatred, You make it impossible for that child to grow up and form strong attachments and loving, caring relationships, or to be willing to risk themselves to protect the world. So I think you got to be this kind of antisocial, psychopathic person, both by getting Stanley's genes and having Stanley's parenting and your mother's cold, standoffish way of treating you. In other words, that part of you was both born and made. The other thing that I think is true about you is another personality style, where I think it's fair to say that you've got the features of what we call a paranoid personality disorder. The general rule for someone who is paranoid is to trust no one, let no one get too close to you, and to never forgive anyone who does you wrong. If somebody criticizes them, they're quick to respond with anger or to counterattack. If somebody humiliates them, then they must have revenge. About 1 to 2% of the population has the paranoid personality disorder. About 2 to 3% of males and 1% of females have the antisocial personality disorder. And then there's a smaller group that has both. And it was having both that allows you to have this career that you've had, and that allowed you to profit from your capacity for a completely emotionless, fearless, remorseless hit. By being free of any conscience, and also free of friends and of people who could bring you down, you were able to have a very long run as a successful contract killer, which is quite unusual. And you wouldn't have been able to do that had you not had both of those personality flaws in your line of work that turned out to be major advantages, kind of preconditions for a successful career.
I appreciate you taking the time and explaining this to me. I am probably the loneliest person in the world because I have nothing I care for, and I can't make any friends to have any kind of a relationship, so I've lost everything. I've lost everything I ever cared for, everything I ever wanted. It's down the toilet. Since there is no love in my life, I must have something to replace it, so I replace it with hate. Constant hate. Constant reminder to hate.
And what's that do for you?
Keeps my left foot going in front of my right foot. Keeps me moving.
Is that all you've got left is hate?
That's all I've got left. Everything that I ever cared for is gone.
That's all you started with, too.
Then I've come full circle. It's time for me to die.